So for the past few days, I've been on vacation for a little bit around Christmas time, and spending time with family around Christmas and sort of taking some more time away from working and doing things like that. And in the process, I decided to buy this fiction book, and yesterday read about 100 pages of it. And as I had started reading, I just sort of noticed how at first it was almost hard to sit there and read through a book, just because I think the more that we use social media, the more that we are just sort of impacted by this fast-paced society, and we're so stuck and glued to our phones that, our attention spans have shortened. I just sort of realized that in that moment. Trying to read that book, you really had to decide, no, I'm going to sit here and read this, even though my brain is wanting to do something that maybe seems, more exciting. I feel like when we're scrolling on social media, Twitter, X, Instagram, it's just like we get that little, as I say, dopamine boost as we're scrolling every single time. And so we're just so used to that way of, just getting information. It has to be like quick, new, fast all the time. And as I was reading, it really just helped me realize, wow, when you just sort of sit and are still when it comes to reading, it really does bring like a lot of peace to your mind, just like it causes all the noise to go down. And I typically, throughout my day, try to find time to be quiet, mainly in regards to praying or reading the Bible. I typically take a lot of time, anywhere from maybe 30 minutes to an hour in the morning, 30 minutes to an hour at night. And so I already sort of have it in my way of life to sort of to operate in that way, just because my greatest desire is to grow closer to God. And I've been able to do that in those times during the day. And it used to just be in the morning. Then a year or so ago, year or two, I added the night as well. But I realized during the day, I do a very bad job of, I guess I look at my phone way too often. I look at social media way too often. And because I work for myself, I'm able to sort of, throughout the day, sort of have my phone out when I get bored, look at it. And I feel like when I'm working, doing some research or preparing to make a video for my, main channel where I talk about the NFL, I definitely have a bad habit of just, flipping up, social media and looking at things, the second I get bored from something or want to, take a break. And honestly, as I was reading this book that I got, it sort of just helped me realize, wow, I need to slow down way more throughout my day. And so right after I read, I don't know, maybe 50 pages or so, I deleted my social media. And I've done this a lot where I'll delete it because I just sort of get tired of looking at it so often. Even though there's a part of me that enjoys it because you do get to see, your friends and family, what they're up to. I do think there's some positive aspects to social media, but I think that sometimes the way I use it, multiple hours a day, or I could be doing things that are just much more productive, much better just overall for your mind. I sort of realized as I was reading, I was like, I just need to cut some of this out. And the thing is, for me, as I sort of talked about a little bit, I do talk about the NFL, and so I do have to look at, what's going on, and I usually use Twitter and stuff like that for reporting things. So I have to figure out how to sort of get around that. That's a little difficult, which is why I typically keep Twitter. But the point being is, I think we all know that we're not really designed to operate like we do with our phones. And the thing is, it's like I sort of stop at times, don't stop at times. And I really just wonder, how much we're missing out on because of this constant noise, especially when it comes to seeking God. I think that God does speak a lot more often than I think we even perceive. And I was even thinking and just sort of having this idea that I had this feeling that the more that I, stop looking at this fast-paced media, Twitter, Instagram, just, reading something fast, scrolling, I feel like the more that I put that down, the clearer God will become to me. And I do feel like I hear God speak, but I do think there's like a deeper level. And it's not just, I'm sort of thinking here through this all myself. It's not just for me making sure I have a time morning and night. I think it's just a way of life. How are you operating? And I was thinking that yesterday, as lots of these thoughts were coming to me as I was reading and sort of recognizing this within myself, that so often we're like living our lives through our phone. Back in the day, if they didn't have internet, didn't have social media, stuff like that, you were just sort of much more present because you didn't have just a little box in your hand that sort of connected you to the rest of the world. And there, as I said, there are many cool things about being connected to the rest of the world. But I just feel like there would have been a lot less noise in that time, because you're not hearing all that outside noise constantly hearing thousands of people's thoughts. Because there's no way we were designed for that. Scrolling through Twitter, if I scroll through Twitter for 30 minutes an hour, maybe I've heard 1,000 people's thoughts. And, back in the day, the only way that would happen is, I don't know, you walk through a massive crowd and people talk to you. But it probably wouldn't happen like it happens now to us. And so I really just feel like there's so much more to life when we sort of are just out of this way of operating. And I don't know what that looks like for me. It's only been a day, and I think we all know these things. It's just, how do you consistently do it? And I think it does take discipline to just, delete your social media and really try to, find better ways to use your time. But I even think, when it comes to, because I have to get a lot of information, for what I do, just trying to stay up to date with what's happening. But I just feel like it could be better, just to read things and read longer articles than just reading everyone's little, 5-second thought on Twitter. I think it just sort of allows you to relax more. Like, as I was reading that book, as I said, read 100 pages, you just sort of sit and settle and relax instead of just always being, searching for more information and, draining your brain. But I just wanted to share some of those thoughts, because it's just, I felt a lot better sitting there and reading a book. It was just great. That's pretty much it. And see you guys next time.